Coming up, we'll have some takeaways from the week one of the college football season. We'll hear from head coach Rich Rodriguez as we're here at Jacksonville State here on this Tuesday of Southern Sports Now. Welcome in. It is Tuesday, September the 5th, 2023. We've made it through week one of the college football season. It has been a full week and full weekend. Hope you had a great Labor Day yesterday and had the day off. So we got a lot of college football to discuss today. Of course, we'll hear from Rich Rodriguez as it is press conference day. Jacksonville State coming off the big win over East Tennessee State. And now they look ahead to a really good Coastal Carolina team that they'll have this Saturday on the road in Conway, Arkansas. So we'll talk that a little bit later on. But want to jump into some takeaways kind of from this past weekend there in college football. There's a lot to discuss. Of course, we saw Alabama, we saw Auburn in action, we saw Jacksonville State. A lot of college football happening, and this weekend was one of those weekends, though, you didn't get a lot of really good games. We saw a lot of blowouts, and so it's kind of hard to learn a lot about teams in weekends like this. But I think some takeaways to start with. First, Auburn's offense is worlds better than what we've seen it the last few years. It kind of reminds you of maybe a Gus Malzahn team, but Hugh Freeze, I think, is going to take this offense to the next level completely. And I think we saw that on Saturday. Peyton Thorne, very talented quarterback. Robbie Ashford able to come in and really get some positive things going as well. He looked really like a different quarterback to me watching him on Saturday. So the offense really and the defense as well for Auburn looked so much better, but the offense, I believe, is worlds better under Hugh Freeze and Philip Montgomery there at Auburn. So I think that's a really bright spot for the Tigers, and we'll see some really positive things there. For Alabama, I think when you look at the quarterback situation, we got some really good quarterbacks, and I'm excited to see what they can do. But Jalen Milroe started the game off really well for Alabama, and I think that's going to be a big, I wouldn't say controversy, but I think it's going to be a really big deal going into this week of which quarterbacks get what reps heading into the Texas game. And I think Jalen Milroe, as it's been reported, will be the starter on Saturday against Texas. But I think there's a lot to be excited about for this Alabama team. And, some would say, well, they started slow. I think that's just first game, for anybody. And I thought Alabama played really well in the game on Saturday against Middle Tennessee State. Here's something else we can take away from the weekend is that Florida State could be the real deal. I think they could really be a playoff team after watching them on Sunday night. And I'll just say this, Florida State I don't think played their best game, but yet they still were able to go out and beat LSU. The LSU defense did not look as good as I thought it would be, but I still think LSU will have a good year, but I think Florida State is maybe the team in the ACC. I really do, and I was really impressed with the Seminoles on Sunday night. But I think they are definitely a playoff team. Here's another takeaway: Clemson is not who we thought they were going to be. Clemson did not look good last night at all against the Duke Blue Devils, and I thought Duke was much better than a lot of people thought, but Clemson is not what most people thought, and I think that's going to be interesting to follow as we move forward as well. But this is not the Clemson team that we expected for sure. So those are just some takeaways for me from this week one of the college football season. We've got a lot to get to this week as we break down and get ready for another weekend of college football. We've got you covered here on Southern Sports Now. We're going to jump to a break right now, though. Coming up, though, we will hear from the head coach of the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, Rich Rodriguez, press conference today. We'll do that next.
Here at Ted's, we are excited to now be offering custom-made cabinets. With that in mind, we're changing our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond is going to encompass everything that we offer in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
East Alabama Now Local News has been bringing you the best local news coverage for 6 months. And now we're growing.
EAN News will be available to you 5 nights a week with new faces, new content, and coverage that is second to none.
We'll be bringing you the weather that matters to your neighborhood and to you. Rain or shine, you'll be in the know.
Sports always brings communities together, and EAN Sports will have coverage of all of our area events.
East Alabama Now, local news, new faces, same great coverage. Starting 5 days a week, May 1st. EAN Local News, your news on your schedule.
We're back here from Jacksonville State Press Conference Day. Rich Rodriguez took the podium earlier today. Let's listen into what he had to say following the East Tennessee State win and previewing Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, obviously it's a very challenging opponent, playing a really good Coastal Carolina team program that's competed and won championships, been to bowl games. They're probably a model for teams that have moved up from FCS to FBS and did it the right way and won games, committed to their program, and they're really good. So, and their atmospheres up there at home games is outstanding, and so it's going to be quite a challenge, and I think we'll find a lot about ourselves during that game. But I think we'll play hard. We're going to have to play really well, better than we've played in the last 2 games to win this one. And they got one of the best quarterbacks in the country as well, and that's always a challenge. But today will be a big day for us practice-wise, the next 2 days, and then Friday we'll go up to the beach, but we're not hanging out at the beach. We're just going up there and play a game and see what happens.
You said one of the better quarterbacks in the country. What have you seen from him that makes you say that?
Well, he's competitive. He's smart. He'll make plays that are there, then he'll make plays that aren't there. He's probably one of the most dynamic leaders in college football, and has been. I mean, what has he been, the 3-time Player of the Year in the Sun Belt Conference? That doesn't happen very often, and he's off to another good start. So, got a lot of respect for him. Got a lot of respect for their program and what they've done in the last, I guess, 7 or 8 years to get to this point. Yeah, they moved up and they invested in their facilities. They invested in their program. They moved up with the intention of moving up to have success. And Joe Moglia, the ones that was really the one that got it going. And Coach Chadwell was with them on his staff and did a great job with them. And so even with the new staff, they've got experienced coaches. But Joe's been the one that's put that program, I think, at a certain level when you move up. And so because there's programs that move up, but they don't really make the full commitment. And to me, it looks like from a facility standpoint, from a commitment standpoint, they were all in with that. And then they kind of developed their own brand, so to speak, of come ball at the beach, and sold that from a recruiting standpoint, and it's worked for them.
I remember this time last year, you talked a lot about wanting to establish a culture during the first year, change what it means to come play at Jax State. How would you evaluate how you've done and the team has done so far?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I think it is. I think once you establish your culture, you have to you can't just sit back and assume that's going to stay that way. You have to work on it every day. And that's one thing that, all these years I've been coaching, I've still found out. Hey, okay, the culture is set. No, it's a daily work in progress to continue that. From the standpoint of how you practice. Like I said last week, I didn't think Tuesday's practice was good at all from an offensive and a scout defensive standpoint, and that's why we got so upset, and Wednesday was better. So this Tuesday I'll remind the guys of that and how we play. And then also, we want to develop our own brand here at Jax State. This is who we are. We're not a big town. We're one of the smallest, if not the smallest town in Division 1A in FBS, and let's use that to our advantage. People are friendly. It's a clean, safe place. There's no traffic, only a couple stoplights. It's a neat place to play. If you're looking for, like I said, big city traffic, big city nightlife, that ain't us. If you like a nice, clean, quiet town, neat campus that's growing, facilities are getting built. Maybe hunt and fish and be kind of quiet. That's who we are. We got to embrace who we are, and I think we're doing that. But we're also going to have, there's going to be some growing pains along the way. I know that too, because that's going to be part of the process. The fewest amount of growing pains we can have, the better. But I'm kind of preparing myself mentally for some of them that have already come and some of them are going to be coming.
Other than calling out guys when maybe they don't meet your expectations with practice, like what else can you sort of do on a daily or weekly basis to make sure that?
Well, it's just from a competitive standpoint. I mean, there's never a time, like you're not going live and tackling people to the ground and all that, but there's never a time when you're loafing, when you're supposed to be going full speed, that'll ever be acceptable. There'll never be a time that any coach, including myself, will ever see a guy loaf or not give his best effort and then just kind of ignore it. It's not in our nature, and it can't be in our nature. And that's a part of it. It's a human, I guess, natural instinct to just relax. Or you're away from the play and you don't give your best effort because, you're not really going to be in the play. That's a natural instinct to gravitate to average. And that's not acceptable here. And most guys aren't accustomed to going harder or hard all the time like I expect them to. And our guys have done a good job of that for the most part, but I'll yell at somebody today for not going full speed, either on offense or defense or scout teams, and if I see it again, I'll yell at them again till it gets ingrained in their thoughts.
Do you know the time frame in which Zion will return?
He's back. He was back Saturday for a series, 3 plays. Then he went back to the sidelines and I think threw up some more. So yeah, he was sick as all could get out. But so now we got an interesting dilemma, huh? It's not a dilemma. I think it's an interesting situation. Now I got 2 starting quarterbacks. I got Zion Webb and Logan Smothers. Who's going to start on Saturday? What time's the game start? 6. You'll know 6:01.
What factors will go into your decision of who starts?
Oh, who has a better week in practice? Pretty much. That'll be about it. Yeah, I feel confident in both of them. Logan's getting better and better, and Zion's a good football player when he's healthy and feeling good. And I don't. Sometimes you have. So you can't lose you're not going to lose your starting job because you're hurt or sick. You're not losing your starting job because you're hurt or sick. You'd lose your starting job because maybe somebody's playing better. But Zion's a good football player, and he'll have a good week of practice. He's a competitive guy. Logan will have a good week of practice. And right now I feel like I got 2 starting quarterbacks.
When you have this kind of situation like you described, how do you manage kind of playing time as that counts in practice?
Here's what's different about us is that we rep our quarterbacks kind of equally anyway. It's a little bit different. Most people will give their starter like 4 or 5 reps and a backup 2 reps. Our starter and our backups get the same amount of reps. So does our 1s and our 2s every week, and particularly offensively because of our tempo, whatever. we go 4 reps with the ones and 4 reps with the twos, or 5 and 5. So that really, to me, if you didn't do that, you would be a little bit more, I guess, concerned about, okay, who's your starting guy, who's your backup guy. But because we have an equal amount of reps and they run the same plays, it's not like we run one set of plays with the ones and a different one with the twos. They run the same plays. They both get equal amount of reps. So I'm not from the area where you say, well, you got to pick a guy and go with a guy. If you're good enough to win with, you play. And that doesn't matter what position, including quarterback.
So you said that players really get the same amount of reps in practice no matter what string they are. Is there any way that they would get a starting role playing in games?
What do you mean?
So
game performance.
Yeah, game performance. Does that play a factor in if they start or not?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Practice is part of it, but your game performance is the ultimate test, right? So sure, that plays a part of that as well, and also maybe some of what our game plan may be plays a part in it. But I think it's natural media inquiries and fans inquire about who's going to be the quarterback. Who's going to be the starting pitcher in the first game of the World Series. It's probably the one that gives you the best chance to win, you think, at the time. But I don't overthink it. This is the first game in my entire 20 whatever some years, 6, 7 years as a head coach that I found out about an hour and a half before the game that the quarterback wasn't going to play because he was sick. That was an interesting situation. So thank God we had a guy with a little bit of college experience that went in there, and we were playing a team that we should have beat. So that was, I don't ever, normally you go, okay, on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or at least Friday, or not an hour and a half before kickoff. But it is what it is. So I think it's a good situation, not a bad situation. We got 2 guys, and then also a third guy in Tayshawn that we're getting confident in as well. So you might see all 3 of them.
We got a lot of young guys that played experience. Any of those, especially the true freshmen, just jumped.
Yeah, we played. I think 72 guys played, and that was a good number. We got a lot of guys playing. Played more defensively than offensively. I wish we would have played a few more guys on offense. We got to get a couple more guys going there. But that kind of game, that's a good thing to do. And some of them, particularly on defense, I think showed us they're going to have good futures. I think we got a couple of really young offensive linemen that showed us they're going to be pretty good players. But our depth is still not as experienced and developed as what it's going to need to be, in the future. I'm talking about Division 1A ready to play depth. We're not there right now. I think he should be 100%. We've got him and Reggie Bennett too. Reggie Bennett is looking better all the way too. So we're gonna. That's another position that we're gonna be looking at. Okay, who's gonna be? What's the rotation gonna be at running back? Malik has played well. Ronnie Wiggins has played well. But the instance they don't start to play really well, then we'll put somebody else in there. There's no greater motivator than playing time, right? So we use that 100% of the time if we can. Players know if the guy behind me ain't very good, whatever. So you have to challenge them individually if you have that situation. And thankfully our guys are, we don't have guys that coast because they have a starting job. Their coaches won't let them do that.
What does Jamari Joyner bring to the receiver room?
Well, he's an older guy. He's an experienced guy. He's been around a little bit. So, and he hadn't played in this offense before, even though I recruited him. I didn't coach him, but, he is an older guy. He has a good concept of what we're doing. He's learned really quickly, and, I think every week he gets a little bit better, gets in better shape, but he's a really good athlete. I mean, he was a high school quarterback, and he was a really good athlete, and, it's good to see him make a couple catches in the last game.
Is he a guy that you'd like to see get more involved as the season goes on?
All of them need to be. I mean, we need to, there's time, like in a game, last game, we were handing the ball off the last quarter and a half and just get on out of there. So But the teams can make you throw. They're going to blitz, play cover zero, bring everybody in the box, and they're going to make you throw. So we work on throwing as much as we do in a running game, and we got to be ready to do that.
With your philosophy of if you're good, you'll play. You saw a bunch of players that came and saw however many people played on Saturday. Does that help with recruiting, just knowing that somebody will have a
Oh, I do think, and that's not the reason we do it, but I do think it is a factor. I mean, I think the most important thing for players, I think, when they get there is they want to play. They all want to play. I don't blame them. Some of them. That's why I tell them, don't get worried about where you're at in the depth chart. Just be worried about be good enough to win with. And they all want to play. Recruits want to play, and that's why one of my goals is to play more people than anybody in the country, and that keeps your players happy, of course, and it also helps you as a coach know how to develop them. Because there's guys will play or practice a certain way, but the game, like as I said earlier, is the ultimate test. You can make a lot better measurements on where your guys are at as far as being ready to play or win with at this level if they play in the actual game. So last week was good, showed us a little bit, and then with the long season and all these games we got midweek coming back to back, these games are going to be coming in a fast, rapid appearance. So we're going to find out a lot about our roster going forward.
How hard is it to study a team that hasn't played a game this season?
That's the hardest part. Last week was a lot of guesswork, but this week has been even more because it's a whole new staff, and they just have the one game at UCLA, and it's everything. So it's new offense, it's new defense, it's new special teams, and so at least last week we had an idea that they had the same staff from before. This is a whole new staff, and so there's a lot of guesswork. You can't just project what they're going to do just off the UCLA game. You got to go back at some of the history too. But there's going to be, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that we will see in all three phases that we did not see in the UCLA game. So we're just got to be prepared for it best we can.
In your experience when, teams like Coastal play UCLA, especially to start the season, do you think sometimes they throw different stuff in those games than maybe they would in their conference games or other games?
I don't know if it's so much conference or non-conference, but it's the opener. And you'll see some things in the opener that maybe is not traditional for them or not their base because they've had all camp to work on it. And so, okay, we're going to come out in UCLA and show them a few things that maybe we didn't do. But, they got all, like I said, with all new staff and new coordinators, that game tells you a little bit, but not everything. But, we do different stuff too, what we've done in the first two games. We got other stuff that we have to be able to execute. The problem, not a problem, but the issue you have as a coach is you don't want to do so much that screws yourself up. I mean, sometimes coaches just try to out-trick themselves, where you just got to be able to play your base stuff and execute well and then see if you're good enough to win by doing that. If you try to be too tricky and get outside your own box, so to speak, you can mess yourself up too.
With 7 turnovers on defense in 2 games, and those come in a lot of different ways, but is there anything specific that's jumped out at you that maybe has led to most of those happening?
Well, it goes back the same way about being lucky. The harder you play, the luckier you get. And the harder you play, the more turnovers you get. You seem to be, when the ball's on the ground, if you're playing hard, you got more people around it to bounce on the ball. Or the ball's tipped up in the air, like we saw a couple of times, the harder you play, the more guys that are around to pick it off. So it all goes back to having like a sense of urgency and playing really, really hard all the time.
This is your first away game. Is there kind of a different mindset or kind of philosophy going into the first?
Yeah, a little bit. It's just our little group. We'll have a few fans maybe travel up there and all that, but you just kind of, in some ways it's easier to get our guys focused because it's our just little group of guys, our travel party and our staff and a few family and friends and fans that follow us, and that's kind of it. So I think there's, I don't want to say there's more distractions at home, but there's more challenges on the road. But at the same time, you got to be mature enough. We got enough maturity, I think, to handle it.
That was Jacksonville State head coach Rich Rodriguez in his weekly availability, previewing Coastal Carolina this week. We know that's going to be a tough game coming up this week there in Conway, Arkansas. a team we've seen in bowl games as of late. So really excited to see what Jacksonville State can do up against this Coastal Carolina team. Let's jump to a break here. We'll come back, wrap things up from Jacksonville State next here on Southern Sports Now.
Here at Ted's, we are excited to now be offering custom-made cabinets. With that in mind, we're changing our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond is going to encompass everything that we offer in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welber Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
EAN Sports is proud to bring you the best, most informative local sports content, and we want your help to be able to do that. If you have a story idea, a tip for our sportscast, or even a highlight clip you want to see on EAN Local Sports, send us an email, eansports23@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter @EAN_sports, or you can send it to the EAN News Facebook page. EAN Sports, bringing you the local sports happening in your community.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
If you see some interesting weather phenomenon in your backyard here in East Alabama, send that to us. We would love to hear from you. Send that to us at the email address you see on your screen or through Facebook at EAN News.
We're back here wrapping things up on this Tuesday at Jacksonville State. As it was press conference day, you heard from Coach Rich Rodriguez a few minutes ago, but excited for Jacksonville State as they got another win against East Tennessee State. So they're 2-0 on the year, heading to Coastal Carolina. We got a lot of great matchups this week. Of course, Auburn heads to Cal this weekend to take on the Cal Bears. You got Texas coming to Tuscaloosa, so should be a really fun, fascinating week of college football and high school football as well as we get ready for week 2 of the high school football season. We'll do that tomorrow as we'll get you ready for high school and college football, so be sure to tune in on the East Alabama Now YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe there, the East Alabama Now Facebook page, and we will talk to you tomorrow with more Southern Sports Now.